Namaskar. Welcome to RIG History Extended. This channel may not be the most visually attractive, but it is one of the best researched history channels on YouTube, built with care, accuracy, and deep study of original sources. Today we explore a subject that is often discussed but rarely understood with nuance: the real position of women in ancient India. Beyond myths and modern assumptions, our texts reveal a social world shaped by law, duty, family, and evolving traditions. So, in this episode, we look closely at the laws, marriage customs, and social expectations that shaped women's lives across different stages of life. Welcome to Women in Ancient India: Laws, Marriage and Society, Dharma Series, Episode 16. Introduction: Understanding Women's Lives in Ancient India. This presentation explores the lives of women in ancient India through Dharmashastra texts, Upanishads, epics like the Mahabharata and Ramayana, and texts such as Kautilya's Arthashastra and Vatsyayana's Kamasutra. We study Manu's classification of women into maiden, married woman, and widow, including exceptions and expectations, restrictions, and prescribed duties at each age. We examine early ideas of educated daughters, disappearance of Brahmavadinis, and Vatsyayana's detailed list of 64 arts, including who taught them and which woman mastered them. Topics include age of marriage, puberty rules, guardianship age ratios, and caste specific expectations from Gautama, Manu, Narad, and Kautilya. We study kanyashulka, dowry evolution, rules about gratuities, wealth transfer, and major examples including Gadhi, Agni, and Vedic commentary. The presentation includes cases of gifted queens, difficulties faced by fathers, and portrayals of women across epics. Categories of women and maidenhood in Dharmashastra tradition. The text begins by noting that the earlier chapters describe the social life of upper caste males, into which women appeared as mothers, wives, or daughters. Dharmashastra writers saw women mainly as contributors to the spiritual benefit of Dvija males, especially Brahmanas, though historically women played far broader roles. Manu classifies women into three stages: maiden, married woman, and old woman. This tripartite system was widely adopted by other early writers. Brihadaranyaka Upanishad includes a prayer for the birth of Pandita, a learned daughter, showing an early aspiration for educated women. Girls were divided into Sadyobandhu, who are the girls who were married early, and Brahmavadini, continued Vedic study. Over time, Brahmavadinis disappeared, and Manu decreed that a woman must always remain under male guardianship. Manu and Mahabharata repeat that women must never live independently. In Kamasutra, Vatsyayana states girls should learn the 64 arts privately, taught by trusted female companions or nurse's daughter, friend, mother, sister, old maid servant, and female mendicant. Though scholars doubt full implementation. Marriage, 64 arts, and restrictions on married women. Girls were usually married very young, leaving little time to learn Vatsyayana's recommended arts and crafts. Vatsyayana notes that upper class prostitutes mastered these 64 arts. A prostitute skilled in them was termed a ganika. He recommends this training for princesses and daughters of high officials and adds that a woman abandoned in a foreign land should support herself through these skills. Despite being wise advice, scholars question whether any person, male or female, could realistically master all 64 arts. Yet Vatsyayana also proposes similar arts for men. Vatsyayana states that women may not read Shastra, interpreted by commentators as due to supposed difficulty understanding Sanskrit. Inscriptions highlight learned women like Lakshmi Devi, queen of Western Chalukya Vikramaditya VI, skilled in fine arts. Another queen, Ketala Devi, excelled in music. Royally gifted women and limits of Vatsayana's model. Hoysala king Vallala I married three gifted sisters, Padma Devi, Chavala Devi, and Boppa Devi, all renowned singers and dancers. Queen Shantala Devi of Hoysala, Vishnuvardhana, was equally accomplished. Queen Shavala Devi of Kalachuri, Sovi Deva or Someshwara, was distinguished musician and dancer. She performed before international connoisseurs who praised her talent. However, her inscription also records her brother as an expert in Brahma Veena, raising questions about exaggeration. Scholars note Vatsayana's arts list may be unrealistic, though it suited those naturally gifted in music and dance. Because most examples involve royal women, they may not reflect the lives of ordinary housewives who were unlikely to have similar opportunities. Literary depictions show stark contrasts. Expert dancers like Malavika were trained in royal seraglios, while characters such as Charu Datta's wife appear as simple women, unlike glamorous courtesans like Vasantasena. These references suggest that gifted women existed in ancient India, but were exceptions shaped by status, cultural expectations, and artistic training environments. Early marriage norms, puberty rules, and Dharmashastric views. Mahabharata states that in an ideal arrangement, immature girls did not bear children. The Sanskrit term Yayuvati usually indicates a girl above the age 16. This implies that girls were not married beyond their early maturity. Texts like Gautama insisted that girls should be married at an early age, preferably before puberty. Kunti felt same when she attained puberty in her father's house before marriage, highlighting the stigma attached. Mahabharata condemns a girl staying long in her father's house and later states that a man incurs the sin of murdering a Brahmana if he fails to give his own grown daughter in marriage. Marriage was the only sanskar for women. Mahabharata states that an unmarried girl cannot attain heaven. Gautama allows that after reaching puberty and passing three courses, a maiden may choose her own husband, a view repeated in Mahabharata. Age ratios gifts, courtship, and Vatsyayana's rules. Manu says it is preferable for a girl to live in her father's house after puberty than marry an unqualified man, but he adds that even if her conduct is blameless, she may lose rights to her father's, mother's, and brother's gifts. Mahabharata uses the word Jani Deya in connection with marriage. Paribarha appears as a wedding present, indicating the bride received gifts from relatives. Manu prescribes that a man of 30 should marry a girl of 12 and a man of 24 wed a girl of 8, expecting the bridegroom's age to be 3 times the bride's. Mahabharata gives ratios of 30 is to 10 and 21 is to 7. Narada does not prescribe ratios but instructs fathers to marry daughters as soon as they reach puberty, which seems to have been customary. Vatsyayana recommends that the age difference between bride and bridegroom should be at least 3 years, supporting courtship preceding marriage. Vatsyayana lists defects that disqualify a girl, including one who has reached puberty. His commentator states a man should not marry a girl younger than himself by less than 4 years nor more than 8 years. Kautilya's view, age of consummation and marriage ages across castes. Kautilya states that a girl becomes sexually mature at the age of 12 and a boy at age 16. This suggests he contemplated marriage consummation at even earlier age. A brahmacharin, as seen earlier, was expected to remain celibate during studenthood until approximately age 24. Kautilya wrote for all castes, while Dharmashastra authors wrote mainly for Brahmanas. Hence, marriage practices differed among Shudra, Vaishya, and Kshatriya communities. Abhimanyu was a Bala below 16 years when he married Uttara, who was about 12 years old, as she is called a Bala. A charming reference describes Uttara playing with dolls on the eve of Kurukshetra war, showing her youth. A commentary on Haribhadra's Dharma Bindu gives marriage age as 16 for boys and 12 for girls, aligning with earlier traditions. Bride purchase, gifts, kanyashulka, and early dowry evolution. M.M. Cain notes that in ancient times, girls were sometimes purchased for marriage, similar to some other countries. However, Manu condemns selling girls. Manu states that when relations accept gifts from the bridegroom as gratuitous honor to the bride, it is not a sale. The wealth is for maiden's welfare. Fathers, brothers, husbands, and in laws desiring the woman's welfare should honor her with ornaments, a norm providing context for Kautilya's provision of 2000 pannas as vritti or maintenance for remarried women. Manu says even a Shudra should not take a gratuity when giving his daughter in marriage. Secret acceptance amounts to selling her. Mahabharata condemns kanyashulka, bride price, yet narrates that a king gave his daughter to Agni and received permanent residence in his city as shulka. King Gadhi married his daughter to sage Rishika, who gave him 1000 and very good horses, showing high value exchanges. Bride's father's distress, dowry reversal, and mythological examples. Bride price to bride's fathers was an old custom gradually disappearing. Mahabharata shows the reverse trend, however, giving rise to the dowry system. It states one must sacrifice and offer gifts from wealth received by Yajaman, students or shishyas, and from Kanya. Vadi Raja explains kanyashulka as fees to the bridegroom in shape of gifts. Sulava, the ascetic woman philosopher, remained unmarried because she could not find a suitable husband. Sita asked Anusua, wife of sage Atri, to describe her marriage, reflecting narrative awareness of marriage challenges. A maiden's father suffers misery. Even if powerful like Indra, a father is humiliated when seeking a husband for his daughter. Mahabharata recounts Matali, Indra's charioteer, who had a beautiful daughter but could not find a suitable groom. With sage Narada's help, he found a youth with a short lifespan. Matali secured longevity and even a job opportunity for the prospective son in law. Sources. The primary material for understanding woman's role is drawn from the Dharmashastra texts, especially the laws of Manu from Manusmriti, including verses which classify women and prescribe marriage ages and guardianship rules. The Mahabharata provides extensive evidence, including passages on early marriage, puberty shame, age references, marriage norms, and kanyashulka, and narrative examples such as Abhimanyu Uttara and Matali's daughter. References from Brihadaranyaka Upanishad contribute insight into early ideals of learned daughters, including the distinction between Sadhya Bandhu and Brahmavadini girls. Vatsyayana's Kamasutra provides details on women's education, the 64 arts, courtship rules, and qualifying or disqualifying traits in marriage contexts. Kautilya's Arthashastra offers perspectives on puberty age, consummation, caste-wide prescriptions, maintenance allowances, and remarriage rights for women. Additional evidence comes from Ramayana verses describing emotional and social challenges faced by fathers and daughters during marriage negotiations. Scholarly interpretations, particularly those of M. Cain and commentaries on Haribhadra's Dharma Bindu, provide historical context for practices like early marriage, gift exchange, and evolution from bride price to dowry. Today we saw how ancient laws, rituals, and customs shaped the world of women, sometimes restricting, sometimes protecting, and sometimes empowering them in surprising ways. If you value deep research and balanced explanations, please show this channel some love. Join me again as we continue exploring India's civilizational heritage with honesty and depth. Dhanyabad. See you in the next episode.